Welcome everybody to the Toku Portal podcast for Kaitou Sentai LupinRanger versus Keisatsu Sentai PatoRanger. I'm Vashi V and I've already fucked this up.
And I'm the Dedicate.
And nobody else is able to make it. King is sick and Rai has to work. Unfortunately.
Hopefully, we can all be here for the finale. If
Uh,
not, we can probably reschedule.
from what Rai said, he straight up mandated that he's off next week.
Nice.
Hopefully they still give it to him.
Yep. So today we're talking about episode 49. So we get a narrator recap. Cafe Jiraiya is being searched by the GSPO. Tsukasa and Saki begin to leave, but Keiichiro tells them he's going to stay behind until he calms down, which is obviously BS because he's probably the most calm out of all of them. Which is weird to say. So at the mansion, at a mansion, yeah, that's their new hideout. Kairi's watching the news. The world knows their identities. The others are just bringing in groceries. Kokura asks Noel if he can make things easier on the thieves. I'm guessing he means after the dust is settled. Kairi finally asks Noel about DeGranio's safe. It's called Physical Protect Status Gold. Apparently, there is an unlimited amount of space in the safe, and he can use all the pieces in there simultaneously. Holy crap. Kairi goes for a walk with just a hat and a jacket on. Thoughts?
The opening of this was amazing. The mansion they're in is actually a callback to, I want to say it's one of Umika's friends. It was the woman who played piano. It was either that or it was a woman with the jet with scissors and blade. So I guess they're just crashing at her place. Keiichiro being the one to stay behind to calm down. Under normal circumstances, that would sound about right coming from Keiichiro, but he's mellowed a lot since the beginning of this. And so him saying it is like, that was just, I need to do some thinking on how to proceed. Apparently DeGranio has a goddamn TARDIS in his chest. Fucking infinite space. Like, I get they had to give something to DeGranio, but damn. And apparently DeGranio has more than just the ones we know about. Which is fair because we've never seen the full collection anyway, so... Like, I was just expecting him to have the one he had plus the ones he took from Ghosh. But apparently that's not the case. I did like the fact that Kyrie pointed out, because they asked him, he got stopped when he was getting ready to leave. And he said, "You're going out like that. It's like, you're going to get caught." And Kyrie made the comment, "Amazingly enough, nobody ever sees me." Which shows what we've thought and the way these have been portrayed within this universe, that they're more liked and more beloved than the cops. So nobody's ratting on the fact that there's like, hey, look, there's a thief. There's one of the thieves. Whatever. Go about our day. Which is a nice touch, considering the fact that they've gone out of their way to push that. It would have seemed a little bit heavy-handed if they hadn't.
Yep. So Zamigo meets with DeGranio and asks him to leave the thieves to him. DeGranio refuses and says he will rampage until the end. Zamigo promises to have Lupin Red for himself. And then we get the opening. Any thoughts on that short scene?
I like the fact that it's adding to this tension between Degranio and Zamigo. It seems really starting to get like manufactured at this point. Of that, let's add contention for the sake of contention, and it's it's done really well. It's just this close to the end, it just seems dumb a little bit to be playing that whole "I'm with you, but don't fuck with my prey." I mean, literally, we have one episode left, and we have to get rid of two bads. This would be something that typically would have happened, a couple of episodes earlier. Though it is nice to see Zamigo and Degranio interacting beyond more the you don't want to take over, do you?
Yeah, next episode should be pretty insane. So, when we come back, we get the episode title, number 49, As Thieves, As Police. So, Jim is scanning for the thieves. Noel enters. Sakuya grabs him by the collar and demands to know why he let the teammates pretty much befriend each other. Noel sincerely thought that it was a good thing. Both of them were working towards things he believed in, his dreams, peace, and bringing his loved one back. And in the end, they were all his friends. It's a pretty touching scene. Good acting on both characters. So Noel asks Jim to gather info about Zamigo. Jim asks if it has something to do with that event. And now the thieves are going to learn the truth. Because while the police were learning the truth, that whole Satoru stuff and framing Noel was going on. So, thoughts?
I like the fact that they took the time to address Noel being basically playing both sides of the fence, and it being Sakuya being the one who basically jumps Noel's shit, and justifiably so, because he knew how this would end up. While Noel was trying to avoid that, it was still necessary for what Noel needed to do, and it was kind of a fucked up thing to do. Of here, get close to the people that you're gonna have to turn around and arrest. And in case of Sakuya, that was really fucked up because he fell in love with Umika. So he's taken it a lot more personal than the others. The fact that this keeps coming back to Zamigo in terms of them piecing everything together is fantastic. I wasn't entirely sure like how well I liked it when they brought up Keiichiro figuring everything out because of it and all that. But it works for the sake of this particular moment of I'm gonna kill somebody. Sorry, somebody else is sending me messages and I'm sorry to concentrate. This being used as a plot device in terms of being able to use as a device to get everybody back. At least this main group of people. And it's to the point where it's almost unnecessary, but at the same time it works for the plot with the way it's revealed to Noel, because by now the police are well aware of it. The thieves kind of have an understanding of what happened, but they were still on the fence on whether or not their loved ones were dead because of it. It was kind of assumed, but it wasn't certain. And yeah, somebody else made me lose my train of thought. I'm sorry.
It happens. So let's see. Yeah, Keiichiro's at the park we've seen over and over again. Gets ready to throw a can in the trash. Kairi tells him he's going to miss. What a callback. He's confident Keiichiro won't arrest him, but Keiichiro is surprisingly calm now that he knows the truth about Lupin Red. Kairi blows up and demands that Keiichiro gets angry at him for deceiving him this whole time. He feels really guilty about it. But this is the first time we really see that. Keiichiro tears up and replies that he's angry at himself for not realizing sooner and being able to help him as an officer. Kairi says it wouldn't have mattered anyways, and he walks away. But Keiichiro wants to help him before his brother is turned into a disguise. That catches his attention, and Noelle learns the truth from Jim and the others. So yeah, that scene, what'd you think?
I'm gonna start this off with Henshin's comment on our channel. Is quite literally, will Keiichiro and Kairi just kiss already? Which I think was hilarious. And if they were gonna go that route, this would be the time to do it. I like the fact that they called back to his first interaction with Keiichiro. Kairi, not Lupin Red. With the you're gonna miss. It was a perfect thing to point out, hey, I'm here, and at the same time, haha, you didn't know it then, kind of thing. I get both sides of the argument in terms of them yelling at each other. This is more the whole why couldn't you do anything? I can't rely on you. I hate myself because I can't help you. It's a perfect dynamic that pretty much sums up the way these two have gotten along this entire damn time. Because it's been a back and forth, I hate you, I don't hate you thing. Well, at least with Kairi. Because Keiichiro's pretty much, since meeting Kairi's been trying to be more the big brother to him and all that. So it's deeply emotional the longer you watch the shows. Like, 'cause if you kind of just jumped into this point, it wouldn't have the weight that it does. And Keiichiro and Kairi are their actors are phenomenal. And the fact that Keiichiro gets Kairi's attention by giving him information that under normal circumstances he shouldn't have given. With him being that, hard-ass cop, giving information to the thieves is bad. Even if it is the I want to help you information. So him pointing out that their families, their loved ones are still currently okay, it still shows that he's starting to cross that line into, yeah, I really don't care that you guys are thieves. Or rather, I understand that you're thieves.
Yep. So, Kairi tells the other two. Toma accepts it because he recognized Tokagale's disguise as someone who was frozen next to his fiancée, Aya. DeGranio turns giant and begins rampaging. Thieves attack in Victory Lupin Kaiser. They are unable to cut his safe's chains, and he uses the power of the collection to attack them. Holy crap, some of the combos. Atop a building, Zamigo shows the LupinRangers their frozen loved ones because he doesn't want them to die here. Emperor X joins them. The thieves can't focus on the fight and are hit by a massive attack that levels half the city. It's basically a damn nuke. And Degranio leaves, satisfied with the destruction he caused today. Man, thoughts?
I'm gonna start with that attack, the nuke attack. Having played like old school video games and all that, is like I recognize the way it formed and all that. There's a game called Chrono Cross. One of the big power ups you get in that skills is called Luminaire, which is basically this, a giant dome attack, and it just decimates everything. So, being a giant nerd, I'm like, I know what that is, even if that's not how they meant it, because they colored the damn thing right too. Degranio just basically showing going, I'm fucking bored, is pretty much the epitome of his character. Of, yeah, I just need to get out of my chair. Ain't done this in a while. Let's fuck some shit up. Zamigo doing, basically popping up on top of the building with the loved ones. It was a good distraction, even if it was kind of dumb when you think about it. Because the whole purpose of it was to draw out Red. And you're going to do it while they're getting wrecked by Degranio. If you distract them, they can die, which would ruin your fun. So from a logistics standpoint, that was kind of retarded. God damn it. Seeing Degranio just basically wreck shit puts things into perspective with his power, which to me is kind of overkill at this point, given the fact that we've seen all the power-ups that there are for this series. There is nothing more to this. So having him be so highly overpowered is unnecessary. I'm not saying have him stronger than them, because that's how this usually plays out. But to the extent that he is, to me, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, my favorite scene's coming up, and that's really all I can focus on, other than somebody else being an asshole.
Alrighty then. So, Coyote wakes up underground. He's pretty seriously injured. I mean, his hat is coated in blood. He collapses when he reaches their hideout. Kogura tells them that the others were taken to the hospital by the global police. Their pieces were confiscated, and Keiichiro is searching for Kairi. Sakuya finally sympathizes with Yumika because just 2 years ago she was a normal schoolgirl, and now she's fighting to bring her loved one back. The background music was pretty good. Kairi tries to stand up as Kogura addresses his wounds. He falls back, takes a bunch of painkillers, I'm assuming that's what they are, and leaves. He'll save their loved ones, even if he dies. And then we get a montage of Kairi looking for Zamigo, Keiichiro looking for Kairi after he finds his bloody hat. It's kind of cheesy, but realistically, they're searching the damn city, so I guess it makes sense. And then we get a really awesome scene. So Keiichiro finds Kairi and helps him to his feet. Keiichiro assures him that he's here to help. Kairi recalls his unforgiving words during their first fight that he'll always be wrong, something like that. Um, as the sun rises, Keiichiro tells him that he became a police officer to save people that are suffering. If he can't help Kairi, then he will quit the police. But then, giant Potamon begin rampaging. Kairi pushes him to help the civilians that are in danger. He tells them that they can't walk the same path, but he thanks the hot-blooded policeman. Keiichiro screams and runs off. Thoughts?
Let's start with the bloody hat. Having looked at Kairi's injuries, there's way too much blood on that hat. It's just something that was the first thing I noticed when they did that pan to him with it.
To be fair, if you've ever watched UFC, your head bleeds a lot.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but given that like the only injury that was close to it was the one just above his eye, I'm not saying he didn't have one up further into his hair. It just with what we could physically see, it just seemed like an exorbitant amount. It was just something that stuck out with me that just looks odd. Kairi basically stumbling back to the mansion, taking the basically I'm just gonna say it's ibuprofen. He risked the chance of overdose just to do it because he just took a random ass handful. So he could have died then too. So, the montage was nice of them each looking for their respective people. Keiichiro for Kairi, Kairi for Zamigo. The only issue I have with it is the logistics behind them actually finding each other. I get that Keiichiro kind of had a rough guess considering where he found the hat and all that, but the odds are still astronomical given the size of the city, which we've been shown is fucking huge. But it did lead to a fantastic moment. Basically, Keiichiro going, I want to help you, consequences be damned. And Kairi basically going, well, but you said, and it to me it wasn't so much what you said as like, here's the one thing you believe in, the fact that the moment you became Phantom Thieves, you're on the wrong side of the line. And it's fitting that Kairi would be the one to remember that, because as much as he tries and denies it, he does actually look up to Keiichiro, in a brotherly kind of way. Otherwise, he wouldn't push Keiichiro not to follow him. Luckily for Kairi, a bunch of giant Potamon show up with no explanation other than, I guess, DeGranio's just bored still, I guess. And they had to have some reason to get Keiichiro to not follow Kairi. But it was a super touching moment with how they handled the push for each person both ways.
Yep, and as always, the acting was fantastic. So, Kairi finds Amigo. Amigo assures him that their loved ones are safe. Of course, the only reason he knows that they're related in some way is because of how obsessed they were. And he can kind of read the memories of people trapped in his ice, which is neat. He will turn them into disguises tomorrow morning to incentivize the thieves to fight him before DeGranio gets them. Kaitou changes, Zamigo transforms, and the fight begins. Episode end. Thoughts?
gonna start with my favorite part of this. That fucking henshin was phenomenal. The way they used the ice to show the view of, like, when Zamigo changes, showing, Kyrie on it. When Kyrie changes, showing Zamigo on it. It's. I don't think I've seen that in Sentai here, actually, since I've started watching it. Um, I'm used to more of the like the way they did it, with the reveal of who they were. Um, the art direction in this show has been phenomenal. Um, Zamigo being able to read people's memories, kind of bullshit. In the fact that this is literally the first time we're hearing about it. I get it, it's for the explanation of how we figured out who they were. However, it's a very. I can't remember which character it is. I think it's Decade. It's a very Decade thing of, I get the gist of it. Even though it really doesn't necessarily show that, yes, Kyrie's Lupin Red. All it shows is, yeah, you froze his brother, dude. That was about all it showed him, so that's a great leap for him. And him using them as motivation to fight him now is fantastic. Seeing Umika and Sakuya in the hospital was kind of heart-wrenching. Especially seeing Sakuya and Tsukasa, like, kind of looking over them. Both of them realizing that they still, despite them being thieves, they still care about him and probably have no intention of arresting them. It kind of more or less understanding why they're doing what they're doing. The end of this episode was phenomenal. And I'm definitely not looking forward to the next episode, other than the fact that it will be phenomenal too, with it being the last episode. I think that's about it.
Final thoughts for the episode. It was pretty damn amazing. Great emotion, great acting, great wrapping up the character development for our main characters. So, yeah, looking forward to next week, but not to this show ending.
Given the fact that this series has been nothing but fucking character development, the fact that we're still getting a bit of it is actually fantastic. Because usually all the characters are fleshed out by this point, and it's literally, let's just defeat the boss. So the fact that they're sticking in, just squeezing in as much as they can, and none of it feels contrived, like I said, except for, like, Zamigo's, I can read people's memories thing. It's done really, really well. Even with, like, Keiichiro going, you know what, fuck it, I'll be a thief if it's what will help you. And Kyrie going, no, that's the wrong path, go do the right thing. Just this series has, for a while now, but even more so with this, is my official number one Sentai ever. This series has been non-stop fantastic, and I will be very, very sad to see it end next week, especially with what I know is coming after. Unfortunately, I didn't get any notes from Rai because he wasn't able to watch the episode before he went to work, and I guess King is too busy playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and sick, so I have no input from them at the moment. So I guess on that note, thank you all for listening. We'll be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider Zeo. I'm personally thrilled for that. Um, don't let that disappoint you from tuning in. Um, and then we'll be back for the finale of Kaitou Sentai LupinRanger versus Keisatsu Sentai PatoRanger next week. Thank you all for listening.
Adieu.
And later, taters. I had to finish that for King.